Practitioner doesn't have the colorful credentials of dog, but believe me,
Continue.
yeah, pero believe me, he's the only theist we respect. And he's the only theist admitted in the secret society of ABA.
Honorary member.
I'd like to say he's the only theist that keeps me awake at night thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, our theist guest for tonight, Mr. John Albert. Who's going to come in first for this? Okay, toss ka.
Hindi, may nakaupo.
So I'll prepare your presentation. So Mr. John Albert will start.
Oh wow, nice font.
So okay, everyone, let's listen.
That's the nice. What is the foundation of morality? Is it natural or is it supernatural? Theistic or humanistic? That's the topic of our debate. But before we begin, I have to define terms. So what is morality? Morality of some kind seems to be a universal human phenomenon. It is a sub-part of the broader domain of the normative, which seems also to be characteristically human. Normative questions and judgments are about what we ought to do, what, believe, or think, and about the reasons for and against doing or believing in one thing rather than another. Only rational beings only beings with language are capable of normative thinking. So what is normative? Normative basically is about what we ought to do, what we ought to believe. It's based on standard of what we ought to think or how we ought to behave. Ethics, then, is the branch of philosophy concerned with the study of morality. Let me read this one. Ethics is the branch of philosophy that tries to understand a familiar type of evaluation, the moral evaluation of people's character, traits, their conduct, and their institutions. Speak of good and bad people, the morally right or wrong thing to do, just or unjust regimes or laws, how things ought and ought not to be, and how we should live. Now, this is my position. As a theist, I believe in moral realism. I believe that there are objective moral values and duties. For example, when I believe that rape is wrong, I think that it's objectively true that rape is wrong. Independently of what I believe, I think it's a rule, a standard that we all try to apprehend. At the simplest level, all realists endorse the idea that there is a moral reality that people are trying to represent. For example, when I believe that rape is wrong, or I believe that genocide is wrong, I aim to represent in my mind the way that objective reality is. For example, say my belief. Say for example, I believe that genocide is wrong. But the fact that my belief is trying to represent is independent of my mental state. This belief is a mental state. But what I aim to represent is objective, it's true, and it's factual. That's why we call it moral facts. Every bit as factual as, say, scientific facts. For example, if I believe that the moon is round, or if it's a big chunk of rock orbiting around the Earth, it's a fact that it's true, independently of my own thinking. Even without human beings, it's true that the moon is orbiting around the Earth. Now also, let's talk about the nature of belief. When you say that you believe something, it it's not just saying that you think about a particular thing, it's a psychological attitude. For example, if I believe that the earth is round, it's also making a claim that there is a factual statement embedded within that belief. So it's a contradiction in terms to say that you believe that rape is wrong, but you don't think that there are no moral facts. You can't believe that something is the case and also say that something is not the case, which is what you would be saying if there are no moral facts, but you also believe that there are moral facts, basically. So far I've said that a moral realist is typically someone who has moral beliefs and adopts a certain attitude towards those beliefs. What attitude? For example, in addition to having moral beliefs, you also have to believe that those moral beliefs function in a certain way. For example, first of all, it has to assert something. For example, you have to say that if I believe that something P, you have to believe that the proposition that your belief expresses asserts something about the world. Moral realism is also the default view. Every one of us possesses moral beliefs, or virtually all of us, except maybe people, certain outliers, who have malfunctioning moral faculties. But that same is true for, say, empirical beliefs. There are people who are blind, or people who have malfunctioning empirical faculties like sight or like hearing. But those are outliers, and they need not necessarily concern us. Right? Most human beings, like I've said, are moral realists. Now, what is humanism? I provided a couple of quotes in order to reinforce my point. Humanism in the present era signifies an ideological doctrine that places human beings as opposed to God at the center of the universe. Another quote, as non-theists, we begin with humans, not God, not nature, not deity. Humans are responsible for what we are or will become. Though deity will save us, we must save ourselves. There's another from the humanist, International Humanist Ethical. Humanism is a democratic and ethical lifestyle. It affirms that human beings have the right and responsibility to give meaning and shape their own lives. It stands for the building of a more humane society through an ethic based on human and other natural values in the spirit of reason and free inquiry through human capabilities. It is not theistic, and it does not accept any supernatural views of reality. Yeah. Thus far, what have we found out? Humanism, first and foremost, is an ethical worldview. It has a moral stance. It's a way of seeing what humans are and their relation to the world at large. It affirms, for example, that human beings have certain duties, moral duties. For example, to live a good life, or to embody what it is to be a human being. Humanism is also a moral realist worldview. It affirms the objective moral value of human beings. We are the proper object of, say, a claim, moral blame, moral responsibility. We should respect the value of a human being, irrespective of what he actually believes. He can be the worst kind of human being, but by virtue of his being a human being, he is a proper object of, say, human dignity. Moreover, humanism is a naturalist worldview. It explicitly excludes entities and explanations of a supernatural character. Then, what is naturalism? Metaphysical naturalism affirms that the natural world is the only real one, and that the human race is not separate from it, but belongs to it as a part. Moreover, it is the belief that there aren't any supernatural beings, no such person as God, for example, but also no other supernatural entities and nothing at all like God. According to philosophical naturalism, there is no God. We human beings are insignificant parts of a giant cosmic machine that proceeds in majestic indifference to us. Our hopes and aspirations, our needs and desires, and our sense of right and wrong. What can we get from this? Naturalism is the view that exists, that everything that exists is natural. For example, naturalism is the underlying presupposition of humanism. They're almost one and the same. They both state that everything that exists is fundamentally natural. Nothing that is not natural is accepted within that worldview. Neither God or anything at all. If naturalism is false, humanism is also false. Because naturalism is embedded in humanism. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean for morality? It means that if moral facts obtain, and if humanism obtains, that means if they're both true in the real world, then moral facts are natural facts. They're not supernatural. Moreover, what the humanist must give them is an account of morality that is cognizant of the nature of moral facts, as is implied by his worldview, and which is coherent, which is with his broader moral realism. Now, this is the gist of my argument. This is an argument that is drawn from the nature of evolution. For example, naturalism is typically conjoined with evolution. Most, if not all, naturalists believe that evolution is true. I challenge you to give a naturalist that does not believe that evolution is true. What is it? What is evolution? It is a preferred ecological account of how the current state of affairs obtains. Humanism and supposing naturalism typically agrees with the above account. Naturalism maintains that the moral faculties whereby we apprehend moral truths and assess moral claims arose via purely natural evolutionary processes. For example, whatever moral beliefs we arrive at, it is typically formed by moral faculties. These moral faculties are how we apprehend, how we assess moral claims, for example, and how we arrive at moral judgments. Say the belief that genocide is wrong is formed for me by my moral faculties in addition to my moral experience, and that's how I arrive at those certain beliefs. But the problem is,